Inflation prints out of Spain, out of Germany, showing consumer prices still heading in the wrong direction. The data is just the first in a string of Eurozone reports that will dictate whether ECB officials raise interest rates in a couple of weeks' time. Maria Tadeo joins us now for more. Morning, Maria.
Good morning. And look, this is a mega data-dependent central bank. So let's get into the data that we got today. When you look at Spain, inflation came in at 2.4% in August. It was in line with the estimate, but it did pick up from the previous month when it was 2.1%. When you look at Germany, again, this is the biggest economy driving the euro. You have inflation at 6.4% in August. The estimate was for 6.3%. So economists were expecting a faster cool down. Now, of course, we should make it clear we're waiting for the French CPI, the Italian CPI, and of course the big euro area number for August. But again, if you assume this trend will continue of inflation either stuck or actually ticking up, you could argue it brings back fully on the table that September rate hike. Because remember, the ECB said they could hold or hike. It would depend on the data. But the fundamental question for the central bank is not whether inflation is cooling down or not. We know it is. It's whether inflation is cooling down enough to merit a pause. Now, if you get that kind of inflation numbers, that trajectory is still strong, then you could argue there is a strong case now to keep that hike going into September.
Maria Lagarde, Christine Lagarde, the ECB president, super vague with TK on Friday in that interview in Jackson Hole. What are other officials saying about incoming data and what they want to see happen in a few weeks' time?
Yes, and look, there's a number of reasons why she does that. Obviously, she's repeated this is a central bank that is guided by the data. Maybe it would have been a contradiction for the head of the ECB to swing either way without the actual prints from the euro area for the final August print before that decision, which will really be that final data point before they head into deliberations. Obviously, we know she's the head of the governing council, so she's supposed to be the one that brings in consensus, so not take strong positions either way. Nonetheless, we do know from a number of central bankers, including the Germans, but also the Austrians, suggesting, yes, it's the data that matters. But again, the data would show whether or not we've done enough to really show the data is consistent with a cool down that would bring inflation back to target. So if you assume, and you listen to Nagel of the German central bank, you listen to Holtzmann of the Austrian central bank, they would say, looking at this data, it is still a good reason, or there is still a good reason to go for another hike in September. Maybe not convinced that this trajectory is moving as fast as the European Central Bank wants it to be towards that target.